Heyo everybody, Haku here with my review of Tower of God Chapter 332, or Season 2, Episode 252. Now, this one's a bit hard to score at least, but I'm not getting into that till towards the end. But it's one of those chapters where it's like, it was very, very good. I'm not going to say it was bad, I thought it was damn good actually. But it felt like from Siu's comments that he was seeing it as sort of a climactic chapter between Heljo and Urek, where I thought it felt kind of transitional. It felt to me like it happens a lot of time, depending on how you pace it, and this can of course be taken but is good or bad depending on how you look at it. But it's one of those things where you look at a chapter, and there are certain chapters where you're like, you can take that on its own, it's a great story, and some feel like they're just transitioning us out of last chapter into next chapter, and that's what this felt like. It felt like if you took it on its own without the chapter before or after it, whatever the one after it's going to be, that it's good, it's a good chapter, don't get me wrong, of course, but it relies heavily on those other two chapters. It doesn't tell a self-contained story, which again is perfectly fine because this is a 300 some chapter long series. I'm just saying that I don't know, it's kind of hard to score because while it's great, you can't judge it on itself alone. But yeah, I felt like more than... The only reason I bring it up is because you talked about it as if it was a climactic thing, where to me it felt like it was just taking us out of last chapter, taking us into next chapter. It was just sort of transitioning things, but talking about it part by part, starting off with some funny stuff. I like when Yuri kicked Urek. All the panels for that were funny, and yells about the anklet, which means that she recognized it. She says she'd castrate him. She says he should be locked up. So that is something that she recognizes, something that is important. So it could be stolen from the Zahard family. That's a possibility. If I were to give a theory or a guess on it, I'm thinking maybe it's something that the Zahard family uses to capture or detain people, maybe to hold people as slaves or something. Because you think it holds somebody's power back to like 5%. Maybe the Zahard family puts that on servants or slaves or whatever to hold them back to only 5% Shinsu use, or to arrest and lock away criminals or something. Maybe they don't have something that can completely seal Shinsu, so they use that to seal 95% of it, or 95% of the strength of it. But either way, that's just my guess of how Yuri would recognize it, or what kind of significance it may have, since it doesn't seem like something she'd recognize if it was kind of unrelated to the Zahard family. But either way, I thought Haku again, still very funny with when he said what Urek would say in the future. I thought that was funny, and it saved time both for the reader and for the characters, and did it in a comedic way, which is great. So Urek reveals he has a drug that was stolen from FUG in the workshop, and it is a drug that would separate Heljo from the Red Thrissa. He said he knew that Heljo was being a tyrant or whatever for a while now, but he's only just come to the floor of death now because it took him a while to find something that could separate Heljo from the Red Thrissa. Now there's the big question, and they even kind of bring it up. Why would FUG even have this? Again, my guess in the live reaction, I made the guess maybe they made it because of Bomb getting fused with the Thorn in the way that he was, and they want to separate the Thorn from Bomb. Or it could also be something, we saw FUG was working on ways to put, how do I put this? The devils or whatever. That's the only thing we've had them called, these energy creatures that they call the devils. We know the workshop was putting them into weapons and putting them into people to try to make human weapons. Maybe that was something that they were making to separate devils from people or devils from objects. So that could be it. It could be something they could use. Maybe devils are some naturally found creature found in some sort of substance, and they use that to remove them from that substance in order to put them into people or weapons. But either way. So then Urek confronts Heljo. We have a little bit of a flashbacky kind of thing where They met when Urek had been rejected by Garam, and Joe explained that his dream was to find a way outside and bring everyone with him. So Urek was like, that's kind of my dream as well. So he kind of saw himself in Heljo. Then Bomb is dodging between Urek and Sanchez in order to make it so they can't fire, so they don't hit each other, and just dodges out of the way past Sanchez. Sanchez is left by Joe to fight Yuri, so we have sort of a rematch set up there, and Yuri is looking quite nice in that panel they had. Then Urek, once they get Heljo a certain amount away, uses his 10% power punch. And my god, the destruction from that was insane. The art was really, really good. We see that Yuji is actually there watching on. I believe this is the first time we've seen him on the floor, actually. The art again being amazing when Heljo tries to create that blood cyclone or whatever, and then Urek just snaps his fingers and blows it apart. You see, showing that 10% of his strength is pretty damn incredible. Bomb makes a pathway of blood bubbles leading up to Joe for Urek to travel along. Urek has a really, really great speech about how Joe was changed, ending in a really good scene of him grabbing his arm and him going in, and Urek tries to flinch and block, and Urek just pulls his arm away from his face and says, "Look what you've become," or whatever. It's a really, really, really good scene. Then Joe goes full Red Thrissa, and we cut away from that. Rachel pretty much says, if you think me or Bomb's the savior, specifically talking about herself, just don't make the sacrifice anymore. Let Heljo go, give one of us the thorn, bam, you've completed your mission or whatever. And Delee's like, so you're a fake savior that needs to die. Pretty much a reveal, if she won't go in with their plan and take their sacrifice, then she's a fake savior that needs to be killed. So pretty much revealing, and Rachel calls them out on it, that they were pretty much just using the savior and the thorn as an excuse to keep people trapped there under them. And again, like I said last week, I think Bomb would say the same thing as Rachel, or it may have been yesterday actually that said it. Bomb would be the same. Bomb would be like, okay, give me the thorn, but let everybody go. We don't want everybody trapped here. Let everybody do what they want. So they would turn on Bomb as well, because there's no way Bomb would be like, okay, give me the thorn and keep everybody trapped here. He's a good guy. He just wouldn't be like that. So, yeah, it's safe to say now, I think that was the proof we need that the Grand family is all sorts of corrupt and just trying to keep people trapped there. Because it really seems to me that they were just using Bomb and Rachel as their saviors in order to try to take out Heljo, that was their main competition. So it's if they're just using them to take out their competition pretty much. Then we see Beta is back in the flesh once again. Delee tries to kill Rachel with the little bee. We cut away on that cliffhanger. So yeah, some blog stuff that was important before I get into my thoughts. CU said that he thought that Urek's lines were a bit cheesy, but that's just the way Urek is, so it's what it is. He also said that he kind of designed Urek wanting him to be like Eminem and be against the authoritative system that is the 10 families. He also says that Urek is quite smart, but everyone kind of sees him as an idiot. Kind of once again playing into the thing with Urek, where he's after all the girls, but all of them think that they all just ignore him and don't like him. CU also said he wants every fight to be different that he does, so because he wants everything to be different, he may add a lot of unnecessary art scenes. I guess that could be kind of true, but I think his art scenes during the fights are some of the best parts of the fight, so bring on more art panels. And yeah, I think that was the only important stuff from the blog, so thoughts on the chapter as a whole. I thought it was really good. Like I said a lot at the beginning of what I thought about it, so I mean, there's no point in repeating myself a bunch there. Just that it felt a bit transitional, but I thought it was really, really good, especially the scene where Heljo gives a speech and proves his point by Heljo flinching, and then he just sort of gently grabs his arm and pulls it away from his face to talk to him. That was a really, really well done scene. Heljo just looks awesome all the time, especially when he went full Red Thrissa mode. We didn't see a lot of the Rachel and Kun side of things. I would have liked to maybe see a little bit more of them, but I thought what we got was perfectly fine. Like I said, it was a great chapter. Just not like 10 out of 10 perfect kind of chapter. In fact, and I like the further stuff that we can infer rather than just being told what the Grand Family is like, being shown it. Being shown how they would turn on their savior if it wasn't beneficial to them. So yeah, that is it. As a score, I'm going to give this one 8 point... I kind of struggled a little bit thinking of this one. 8.75. Just because it's one of those that gets a weird score because it's hard to score. 8.75, blood bubbles out of 10. So yeah, I guess that's it. I hope you liked the video. Like, if you did like the video, comment on there. Tell me what you thought of this week's chapter and what you thought of my thoughts on it and all that. Subscribe for more Tower of God and much more on the channel. Much more. Follow on Twitter if you want. I can talk to you there or keep you updated there and stuff for the channel. That is it. So thank you once again for watching. I'll see you all next time.